that really shows how much the market can teeter between optimism and anxiety, sometimes within a single trading session. The S&P 500 ended the day almost perfectly flat, closing at 5,842.01, just a hair lower than yesterday after a pretty dramatic sell-off on Wednesday. It's almost as if investors were collectively holding their breath, waiting for the next shoe to drop or for some clarity on the big issues swirling around the economy right now. The Dow Jones didn't really go anywhere either, and the Nasdaq managed to eke out a modest gain of about 0.2%. That's notable, especially after the beating tech stocks took yesterday. The big story behind all this volatility is the bond market treasury yields have been on a tear this week, with the 10-year yield hovering around 4.6%. That's got everyone from traders to long-term investors on edge, because higher yields mean higher borrowing costs, and that can weigh on everything from corporate profits to consumer spending. But what's really driving those yields up, and by extension, stirring up all this market anxiety, is the political drama in Washington. President Trump's proposed tax and spending bill is making waves, not just because of its size $3.8 trillion over 10 years, but also because of what it means for the federal deficit. The House narrowly passed the bill, and now it's the Senate's turn to debate. Investors are worried that if this bill goes through, it could add a mountain of new debt to the government's balance sheet, potentially pushing borrowing costs even higher and maybe even stoking inflation down the line. Sector-wise, it was a mixed bag. Tech stocks were all over the place. Alphabet managed to rise about 1%, which helped buoy the Nasdaq, but Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple all slipped a bit. The real fireworks, though, were in the crypto sector. Bitcoin absolutely soared to a new all-time high, breaking through the $112,000 mark. That sent shares of Coinbase, MicroStrategy, and Marathon Digital through the roof. It's wild to think how crypto has become such a barometer for risk appetite in the market these days. On the flip side, solar energy stocks took a hit. First Solar dropped about 3%, and the whole sector felt the pressure. That's directly tied to the tax bill as well. There's a lot of concern that subsidies for green energy could be on the chopping block, which would make life a lot harder for those companies. Meanwhile, United Health continued its downward slide, weighed down by a combination of sector rotation and some negative headlines that have been dogging the stock all week. Looking at commodities, gold slipped a bit, down 0.2% to $3,305 an ounce after a nice little rally earlier in the week. Oil prices also fell, with WTI crude dropping 1.5% to $60.65 a barrel. That's partly a reflection of global growth concerns and partly just the usual push and pull of supply and demand. Like and subscribe.